Episode 493 of the TV Dudes, recorded June 27th, 2024. It's a Patreon showrunner special, y'all. We're talking about the Baxters. This week, we're talking about showrunner patron John Paul Vitale's selection, The Baxters.
John Paul, that's long-time listener, long-time supporter, and we can't do this without our supporters. It's why you don't hear mattress ads or online recruiting bullshit on this pod. We are proudly listener-funded.
We're basically NPR. We're a public good. I mean, we're like libraries. We're museums. We're a freaking civic institution.
We watch TV for a podcast, dude.
Fair enough.
Which we currently recording. So,
Oh, right. I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. So this week on Tune In with the TV Dudes.
TV Dudes. Tune in.
We asked a question on our social medias, and you all had the answers.
What was the question? Tell me!
Favorite episode type? Do you love the intense drama of a bottle episode, where everything happens in one location? Or maybe you love the different perspectives in a Rashomon episode? How about the nostalgic feels of a clip show or the joyous chaos of a wedding episode, usually around season 7? Are you a fan of the vacation eps, some sweep stunts?
I'm sorry, what?
Sweep stunts. Nobody else is old enough to remember this.
Dude, the only reason I know about Sweep is because, again, Boston Legal had their fourth wall break of like, hey, no, I'm not going to kiss you, Denny. But it's Sweeps Week.
Right. Yeah, no, like that's the reason that we got a shark jump.
Also, all those categories, I'm like, are just listing off TNG episodes? Because I swear to God, like all those hit.
So if you've ever thought, well, I didn't know there were that many stock types of episodes, go watch Star Trek Next Generation.
Dude, watch any genre, like Buffy,
like Star Trek. I think TNG taught it to a bunch of us.
Yeah, but any long-running genre thing will hit these.
Yeah, anything that runs more than 7 seasons, like you end up with a wedding or a Cousin Oliver added in, or yeah.
Anyway, we asked a question, and you weirdos answered with your weird answers. Haven't seen the answers. I'm just assuming they're weird.
I mean, it's fair assumption.
And the answers were, let's see, Dennis McElwain chipped in with comedic time loop episodes. I like to call them the Groundhog's Day episodes. Yeah. He says Stargate SG-1. Supernatural. I do know the Supernatural episode. I've only watched I've only watched the concept episodes, like the Scooby-Doo episode, the one where they go to the convention about themselves.
The Mystery Spot episode is fun, where Dean just keeps dying. Yeah.
It's probably Dark Matter and Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Also, like when he's like, I'm supposed to tell you Hedgehog Day or something. What? You said you would understand it. You're talking about Groundhog Day, but okay.
Okay.
I also like you can't beat a good Groundhog Day episode. I gotta agree with that.
He also mentions the superior forces that invade people's home, like Deep Space Nine did the Star Trek Atlantis, where like you got to defend the home base there.
Oh, sure. I suppose that's not as there is a name for that. I think it's like the Home Alone, like or defense,
or defend the castle, or
defend the castle.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something like it. Like
John Paul Vitale said he loves weird one-off episodes. The Lost Sister episode in Stranger Things Season 2. Fly from Breaking Bad, just a great weird one-off episode. He mentions a particularly great episode of High Maintenance, where the entire episode is told from the POV of this cigarette lighter that just gets passed and it's over years. It's a really it's a cool Mythic Quest type pocket 30 minutes.
I was gonna say Mythic Quest would be my answer for that.
Yes, Mythic Quest does such great ones. So the episode of the David Mitchell Shakespeare sitcom Upstart Crow, which ended up being the final episode of that show, was a two-hander from David Mitchell and Gemma Whelan, from Game of Thrones, where it was Christmas during the plague. The episode aired during COVID, and it poked light fun at masks, TikTok dances, social distancing, sourdough bread. It was basically like a quarantine culture episode. I feel like a lot of shows did something similar to that. Like there's their addressing COVID weird episode. I need to say at least one from two. Sorry guys, my last one is the Capture the Flag style episode that doubles as the Hunger Games parody episode of short-lived kids sitcoms. Drama Club, which starred Kensington Tallman from Inside Out 2 as the brilliant...
For some reason, I thought he was going to say "Eat my shorts," and he was going to earn my undying respect, but nope.
The brilliant, hilarious, pint-sized diva Bianca Magic, who in this episode we discover she is multitudes, as she is better at chess than the rest of the drama club gang thinks she would be. Also, comedian John Milheiser played the teacher on that show. Anyway, that's all I got. Have fun discussing.
What do you mean? Like, Capture the Flag, like Hunger Games episode. Like, those are two different concepts. I wonder what he's talking about. But
I think he means the like weird out of nowhere competition episode where like suddenly like in a
Community had one of those,
right?
Yeah,
right,
no,
like,
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Community had several
Hunger
pointed
Games.
ones, like all the paintball episodes and stuff. But yeah, anytime there's like a sudden drama club or band competition or student,
I suppose you could put the Halloween episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in there.
Yes, yeah, they just invent a heist out of nowhere. Also, the Jimmy Jab games.
Unless I'm totally misunderstanding his premise.
I may be. John Paul will let us know in the comments. Rob McCarthy said he loves the very special episode had Saved by the Bell. He mentions the Saved by the Bell very special episode. Teen Line is actually what it's called. Saved by the Bell wheelchair episode has been gender flipped. NBC would have been burned to the ground. He's probably right there. If that had been like Lisa being Zach Morris level shitty to...
Man, I have not seen the episode, but I can only imagine it says, oh, it's the wheelchair episode of Saved by the Bell. I'm like, oh, well, that I'm sure was handled with great taste.
Yes, yeah. So, you know what? Everybody can imagine probably exactly how this episode went if you don't remember this one in particular, but we're going to either throw in the audio or the link or both to the Zach Morris's Trash recap of the Teen Line episode, which will explain in succinct detail exactly why Zach is trash in this episode.
Tori suggests a teen line where youths can anonymously call in with their problems. The only rules: never ask a caller for their last name, never ask for their home numbers, and never ask to meet up with them. So naturally, Zach ignores all of that shit immediately. The very first call Zach gets is from a girl he decides must be hot because of her voice. He asks her last name, where she lives, and asks her out on a date. When Zach shows up for the date at the Max, he discovers she's in a wheelchair. He handles the situation with class and grace by saying,
"Whoa, you're in a wheelchair."
Zach Morris is trash.
Judge for yourself. If it had been gender flipped, would we have rioted? Fresh Pair of Eyes over on Instagram said, I love the Disney World episodes of ABC TGIF shows since it always looked like a lot of fun.
Also gotta give him the credit on Fresh Pair of Eyes. Two eyes.
Yes.
Lowercase eyes. I like that. But also, holy shit, I forgot that those shows did those episodes, but they totally did.
Like they totally did.
There was an episode of what was it?
Even as kids, when you'd realize there's like there's product placement here.
Full House did an episode where they went to Disney World, and one of them ran the Indiana Jones special stunt thing or whatever. I think, like, if I'm remembering right, it was been a long time, but I remember watching it as a kid. Like, that seems insane that they would pick a random person from the audience to do this run or whatever, unless they were going there specifically doing it.
But yeah, I've forgotten all about those, but yeah, great pick. And then Kessel Run said, wow, it's hard to pick. Do enjoy a great montage set to a killer track. Said, thinking of his top two shows, Halt and Catch Fire and Chuck, specific types aren't jumping out, but Sweeps Week always gave great payoffs. Sweeps Week,
man, do people even remember what that is now? Like, do we have to explain Sweeps Week?
I think we might have to. So when people just watched network television, which I know some people still do, I guess it's still...
They still do upfronts and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that'll be another thing.
But the on Sweeps Week, it was like the big, like, here's where the ratings count double and the, lightning round stakes.
Yeah.
For shows. Like, this is where you could, like...
Forget when it actually was. It was in the spring, if I'm remembering right.
So. And you can make up ground basically with your show.
Yeah, and it was high attention from audiences more than normally. Like, and it was right around that time where you could prove yourself as a show or really up your numbers. So it started the trend of shows doing big splashy events or controversy things during Sweeps Week, so that
technically, I guess I'm looking it up, it was 4 times a year.
Was it 4 times a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that seems like it's grown. So it was originally a November focus. Now it's February, May, July, and November.
Okay.
So there is still Sweeps Week. There's just 4 of them now, but I guess it used to be more November, and you would get, like, literally, that's, I think, when Fonzie jumped a shark.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you went, like, you went for advertising rates, you went, yeah.
Yeah. It was
It's Nielsen developed. It's developed in 1950 by Nielsen Research.
Yeah, that makes sense. It encouraged a stunt style of storytelling during if you ever wonder why an old sitcom you're watching, or even just an old procedural you're watching, suddenly gets nuts during a couple episodes, and then like goes back to normal or like on its normal level, like it was probably Sweeps Week that when that episode aired.
Right. If we just out of nowhere like stopped doing the long running plot that you would have needed to see last episode.
Holy shit! Did they just kill that major character for no apparent reason?
Fucking Sweeps Week. Yeah.
Sweeps Week.
Yeah.
Man, did those two finally hook up? Sweeps Week.
Yeah.
Like that would be. Yeah, that's how I don't want to call them the good old days. They were the old days.
They were just old.
They were just old days.
But they definitely were. It was structured different. 4 times a year, you lose that weird impact of like, what is going on?
Well, let's see what TV shows ended up pulling stunts this week for us during our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
So we watched a pretty cool movie on AMC that I've been hearing a lot about and haven't had a chance to watch until just recently. Infestation. French.
Infested?
Infested? Is that what it's called? I thought it was Infestation, but could be wrong.
Infested.
Infested. All right. Yeah, you should get it right. It's a French movie.
Verminace.
Apartment building is taken over by a rare breed of spider. And the residents have to like pull together, or at least you'd think the residents have to pull together, but mostly it's just this ragtag crew of friends that try and rescue the residents, and doesn't really work out.
Most of that building outside our core group die.
Yeah, by the time they even have the thought process to maybe we should warn people, it's kind of too late.
That old man has enough glassware to have almost saved himself, but even he eats it.
Yeah. And again, I find myself, I shouldn't side with the
spiders.
Not the spiders, but the douchey cops that shoot at them when they're trying to get out.
No,
but I'm also like, dude, don't let those spiders out of that fucking building. Like,
no,
you screaming. Those people screaming for that. Fuck those people.
No, you gotta melt this building with thermite, like nuke it from orbit.
Fuck all of that.
No, I'm not the idiot who bought a back alley illegal xenomorph.
It's a pretty badass movie. I highly recommend it.
I do too.
They have like 2 Dark Knight of the Soul moments or whatever, and you'd think that like, because you think like this can't get any worse, and then all of a sudden they bring in the element that the spiders grow at 10 times sizes each generation.
Yeah,
as they lay eggs.
They're getting huge,
and so they're fucking like, so every time they kill somebody, they like implant eggs inside them, and then those things come out, and then those spiders lay eggs in other people.
It's wild.
It's fucking nuts.
It gets out of hand, and like I mean, I've seen there are some people who did not like it online, obviously, as is the way of the interwebs. Haha. But honestly, I fucking loved this movie. I was a little frustrated that I don't like the main character as much as the movie needs me to, and so I kind of wanted him to get hurt. I thought it worked. Worse. But like, overall, it doesn't work.
I thought you were being hard on him. Like, I thought he was a nice guy, and he has a sad collecting, like he collects exotic species. That's how the spider gets there.
Right.
And honestly, it's not his fault. He bought a spider from what's seemingly like there's no way that spider should have gotten to that guy to sell. Like that dangerous level of a spider should not, like, how the fuck?
Yeah, I guess it is unreasonable to think that anything you bought from that schmuck was ever going to do this.
Yeah.
Like okay. I can forgive him a little bit.
At worst, you'd think like maybe the spider bit someone and then they got a bad shock and like
if you went to a record store and you bought like the haunted record from Evil Dead Rise, I would forgive you because like it's a record. You didn't think it'd do this. Like it's a spider. You thought it might be poisonous. Bite that means bite one. Okay.
I really like it. I get why his friends are mad at him for sure. Like your stupid weird hobby has killed us all.
Like, I think I just maybe wanted 1 or 2 more characters to punch him in the face.
Well, and he's the one that's like, but we have to give everyone at least a chance to get out of here. Everyone else wants to fuck off immediately.
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, we have to at least warn old lady across the street that I like.
Right.
Like Claudia, we got to like at least tell her about it.
Right. True.
Like,
true.
and because it's one thing to not like just to some of the residents don't believe them and just like, hey, fuck off and leave or whatever. But like to just fuck off and leave these people to their fate.
Yeah, they do try to
shitty.
go. None of it help. Like none of it works.
No,
like none of it.
Well, I mean, even if they had tried to leave at that point, it was already under quarantine.
We were realizing as we were watching it that like you haven't scored a win against these fucking things yet.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Yeah, none of them. Like I don't think they. I'm thinking by the time we're at the 50-minute mark, they might have killed 2 spiders. At that back when they were small.
Seriously, I'm not joking. Infested. I'd go check it out. I really enjoyed that movie. Like I did. Well, longtime listeners have heard me deeply criticize movies that I don't like, and what you just heard might have sounded the same. It is not. I fucking loved Infested.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, bite him with a spider. Fuck that kid. Hit him in the face.
I think you definitely have a sensitivity to a main character of like, man, if I am not behind this main character 100%, I need to.
Somebody's got to hit him.
Someone's got to hit him to reset my moral.
He needs to lose.
Because we're gonna get into that in the Patreon for this week about A Quiet Place, because I feel like that was a big sticking point for you and for me.
Yeah.
But even more so for you as far as
like
main characters that make a decision that you just can't really get over. But yeah, I also watched I had myself a little Henry Golding marathon.
Yes, is all that glitters Golding?
All those glitters is not Golding, because he is not in very many very good movies. Because I watched Crazy Rich Asians last week, I think, or the week before.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh shit, cool. I didn't want to watch the Christmas movie he made with Emily Clark on HBO Max, because I was pretty sure that from the premise, I'm like, okay, so I think Amelia Clark or one of you is dead, and the movie's gonna like reveal that to me, and I don't like.
When you're not a sucker for Christmas movies anyway.
Yeah, and so I didn't watch that one, but I watched everything else available that Roku would show me based on like, and man, it was not a lot. It was Assassin's Club, which is a weird low budget movie that with Rooney Mara also, and Ratcatcher, the chick that plays Ratcatcher in Suicide Squad. Fuck, I can't remember her name. It's on my head. Sam Neill is in it. Like the cast is stacked, but it is
not great. Yeah.
It's a basic movie that doesn't really.
I want to say I've thrown that on before and then kind of
faded out.
It
doesn't really do anything. Assassins are after each other, and they're not even like interesting assassins. Like, Get Gunther had more interesting. I kind of like when assassins are versus each other. I like my assassins crazy and different.
Right.
Each one bringing a different variety of or even Bullet Train. You know?
Or Cop Shop.
Yes. Oh shit.
Like where somebody's got no, my style is very buttoned down, and well, mine's not, and I kind of mess your style like a rock paper scissors thing.
And also, I'm Toby Huss, so fuck you.
Oh man.
But yeah, I also watched Snake Eyes. Also, not that great. But I did realize that the Storm Shadow of that is the main guy from Warrior. The show I watched, watching HBO. Now it's on Netflix.
But yeah, the Max show that Bruce Lee
would have been and he's the Storm Shadow. Actually, pretty good. They show him scruffy at the first part of it when he's undercover, and then he cleans up, very. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a pretty good pick for Storm Shadow. Iko Uwais is in it. Pretty good pick for any, the physical actors are for the fighting. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's just not fucking Samara Weaving is Scarlet.
Oh no, it's I every once in a while it's in that list of movies. We've all got those movies that we know aren't good, but every once in a while it goes long enough and you look back at this cast and I'm gonna watch that again. I'm just not. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I'm just having.
Yeah, because also they're not good in a way that makes you not remember them.
Right.
You're gonna remember Jupiter Ascending. Why was that not good? I remember why.
Yeah,
I remember.
No, when I want to rewatch Jupiter Ascending,
you're gonna forget why Snake Eyes doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
And then I watched The Gentleman again, just mostly for the Henry Golding parts, and he's fucking really good in that. He's one of the only reasons I might give Ungentlemanly Warfare another watch through when it comes on streaming. Just also, I want to watch that movie. Give it a second watch.
Richson
through.
with the axe is a fun scene. I would nothing else. I'd fast forward to just that whole sequence.
I want to give that movie another shot through because I feel like it really man, I feel like that movie's kind of a mess. And
just, I don't know, it felt light on things.
Yeah.
Actually, folks can go find that
on our Patreon
episode. We go into great detail about what failed us in that movie.
Also watched V for Vengeance.
How is that?
Not great.
Okay.
It has a pretty good premise.
Man, they are determined to show me the thumbnail.
I mean, it's a pretty good premise of two female vampires that were turned when they were children because they survived a vampire attack.
Okay.
And they think that their other adopted sister, they were all adopted, I think, but their other sister died during that attack. And so one of them figures out oh shit, no, our sister didn't die and she's now a vampire hunter. And they don't do the bullshit of well, now she's hunting us or no, they just go and hey, we heard you're alive. Holy shit, you're alive.
Why do you look, why do you still look like the age we were when we got attacked?
No, they all age. The vampires age for some reason.
Well, that takes a huge part of the fun out of that story.
I don't know why. I honestly, I'm wait, why do they? Okay.
Like now suddenly having a woman in your life that is clearly your older sister, according to anybody who meets you.
Right. Man, I would love that of oh man, wouldn't that be great of a movie where you have two little girls that are treating the old, the 30-year-old woman, the little sister
yes.
of you're in your dumb shit, Brittany. You cannot say that to me. You are 5, you are 3 feet tall.
It's not a time travel story. We're all the same age. I just stay out of the sun. It's a skincare thing.
And then whenever they get into actual trouble, they'll just pretend oh, I'm just a helpless little girl. Oh, you should talk to her. You should talk to Brittany.
But I assume that's not what V for Vengeance does.
No, it's she's trying to figure out a cure for vampirism.
What the fuck is the point of vampirism if you don't age? I mean, if you still age.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I'd be so mad at the dark gift.
I guess you still get cool powers or whatever, but also you've cut your time in outside in half then.
Right.
You're not even extending the time then. You've really I mean, now half your life, instead of extending your life, half of it is just now indoors.
Right.
But I do what was his name? Native American.
What powers does this blood addiction come with?
Native American. Graham Greene plays the Whistler of this universe called Bullseye.
Okay.
And he has one scene, but he plays the shit out of it.
Of course he does.
I really like that guy. Yeah, not exactly exciting. I wouldn't highly recommend that. Out of all the movies we watched this week, it infested basically, and then I wouldn't recommend anything else. How about you, my man?
Let's see. Watched a few more episodes of Suits. Remains Suits. It's my background full clothes show. Gotta love USA for that. Mm-hmm. Fanny and I watched all 3 episodes of Ren Fair.
Oh yeah.
Which that is the most TV show shot and edited and assembled documentary I think I've ever seen to not be reenactments.
I think
that's what's missing from it. You keep waiting for that vibe that this is a reenactment, but it's not.
To see the guys,
it's just there's
so many switch to the person in the chair they're interviewing.
There's so many gimbals and drone shots, and they've got so much footage. I deeply want to see how they built this show.
Ideally, that's kind of cool, but also it's gonna get confusing.
Because I was telling you, I know every documentary has a narrative. That's just, you're not just going through B-roll footage. Yeah. Someone else already went through all this footage and made and cut together a narrative. Ken Burns is telling you a story. There's an author. Even when you think it's nonfiction documentary, there's a hand at work, and you should be aware of it. It's just part of critical viewing. This makes that hand so obvious, but in a way that you're so used to because of television that you simultaneously forget about it. You start thinking you're watching a TV show. I can't tell if I love this or am deeply, deeply troubled by it.
Well, honestly, with the advances,
it's beautifully shot, though.
Advances in technology, because that's the advantage you have of shooting a documentary versus a fictional narrative, is the fact that fictional narrative, you have to hire actors, sets, costumes, all this sort of stuff. And if you're just shooting people doing their shit, you can now shoot forever and then find whatever in the edit and leave almost 90% of it on the cutting room floor.
I know so this is a crazy story. This is the biggest Ren Fair in the country, or maybe the world. It's so big that this dude incorporated his own town, and makes everybody call him King George. And he is insanely rich and really old and very nuts, and absolutely loves the power he has over everybody. And the show is ostensibly about him trying to sell this thing, only it becomes pretty clear really quick that this old man's never going to let go of this power. No. He may be fooling himself at various points of the thing, but like, he's never going to let this go. And these people are getting chumped by this crazy fuck who just likes watching them dance. And
this is real life Game of Thrones, motherfucker.
It is sad and dark and weird and like, and you know that like no matter what you thought you were, whatever the filmmakers thought they were going to shoot when they got there, following these people around had to get nuttier than they expected.
Right.
You can't. I mean, they cannot possibly have been ready for like the amount of money this dude spent on angel statues, or like the weird kind of hymn music that he likes to play. Then like it cuts to one of the employees on the grounds who's like, yeah, he used to play the song for just part of his morning, ritual each morning, praying or whatever. And then it got a little longer, then it got a little longer. And now it's all day for 6 years. And like you could see a bit of the light go out in his eyes every time he tells that story,
No.
Like it's, man. Also, he's on a bunch of sugar daddy sites. He's trying to find a companion. So he goes on a couple of dates at the Olive Garden. It's
trying to find a queen.
Yeah, with natural breast.
Okay.
Singular on the paperwork. Natural breast.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it's
singular, natural.
It's on the paperwork. There's all these questions which they clearly don't answer before because he finds it out at a date at this Olive Garden and with one girl. So do you have natural breast? And she's like, no.
Okay.
It's the title of the episode. We're done. He gets up and walks out. Oh man. Anyway, Ren Fair's fucking nuts. All other Renaissance fairs in Texas, like the one I grew up going to, Scarborough Fair, they all had to issue statements like after this came out of like, so we're not owned by King George. I just want everybody to be real clear that
we're not owned by that psycho.
We're just some cosplayers that rent some land.
Well, that's the thing is he apparently did the Disney thing and incorporated a fucking town.
And on that, so like there's in the first episode they're interviewing him and he still kind of seems like just a cute old eccentric man. And he's like, yeah, so I just wanted to do a big Ren Fair. And then somebody gave me Walt Disney's biography and I saw how he did Disney World. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And so he like, that's kind of fucking brilliant. You redneck crazy bastard.
Yeah.
It's a little Tiger King. It's a lot Tiger King. So yeah, that was fun. Also watched documentary Hate to Love Nickelback, which is not spectacular. I think it was better than the Bon Jovi doc, though, actually.
Okay.
It reminds you that it doesn't matter how much you think you hate Nickelback, you know a couple of Nickelback songs. Like, you know more of the words than I thought I would. But it was kind of cool watching them talk about, like, they did just tour the shit out of Canada and were a bar, and they sound corporate produced as fuck, but they remarkably have always sounded like that. Sure. Like, it's really weird hearing them in a bar with like 50 people there and they sound like the same overproduced cheeseball. Like, it's like Matchbox 20 or something. Like, no, that is the sound in his soul. I don't want to believe it either.
That's just what comes out.
That's just what comes out of Chad Kruger. But also he talks in. The guy has handled it really well, but they talk about like their kind of slingshot rise of like they had a couple of singles hit at the same time. And the next thing they knew they were everywhere. And then everybody got sick of them being everywhere. And like suddenly they were a meme in a way that no band had really, like, this cultural point hadn't hit before. And like, and all of their label people were like, yeah, man, I don't know what to do with it. It's crazy. And then the rest of the band are like, yeah, but we can still go to dinner and shit with our families. Nobody knows who we are. Like one of the bass players or one of the guys is like, my kid catches shit at school and that sucks. That's not cool.
Yeah.
But the lead singer, he's like, yeah, I'm the face on these memes, man. He's like, I had a guy hang out the car. The other band members are like, that's never happened to me. He's like, yeah, I had a guy hang out a car window the other day and yell, fuck you, Nickelback. He's like, I can't go outside. And that sucks a little bit, but he also definitely understands that, like, this is the kind of thing that only happens because you have wild success.
Yeah.
And they can still, I mean, up until the pandemic, and they're back on tour now, they still tour to huge fucking arena.
Sure.
They see their bigger problem that I also thought was interesting was they've hit a point as a band of like, we want to keep writing music. Do we bother putting out new albums? Because when you tour, we can't, like, these people did not come to hear
the new shit.
And we have enough old shit that it's a full concert.
Yeah.
So like, you can't. And like, so every band that sticks around longer than 10, 15 years is probably going to run into this.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it before. Yeah. It was a cool documentary. A little bit long, but pretty fun. Of course, Infested was fucking awesome. Watched a couple of Parks and Rec eps. Fanny had never seen Knives Out. She had seen Glass Onion.
Yeah.
But not Knives Out. You don't have to have seen,
Yeah, they're pretty instant. They share one character, and it really doesn't.
It's just another Sherlock Holmes adventure.
His man, it's even less than Indiana Jones. He doesn't have an arc in the first one, so it's not like you're losing anything by not.
No, it's literally like you don't have to have read it. Nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows what order they first read the Sherlock Holmes books in or heard those stories.
Hercule Poirot has more of an arc of like, if you watched The Haunting in Venice before the other ones,
might share a character, or
you're gonna be a little
where he
confused.
loses part of his mustache or whatever. Yeah. And so we watched that. She fucking loved it. It's great. I love that movie so much. We kept up with The Boys, which I guess we'll save that in Superman for just a moment. What else did I watch?
Well, I mean, I think we got to like do 3 desserts for today.
We really do. So first dessert, Shoresy season 3.
Give your balls a tug.
Shoresy season 3. I'm actually glad we didn't do a full episode on this because I while loving it and thinking it's even better than the season 2.
It is better than season 2.
Which I thought was still solid. I don't really have much new to say about Shoresy. It's. I like that the stakes are back now of like they're an injured team,
right?
And so like it's like
so like Shoresy can't push when he shits.
They have a walking competition. Like, do you think he was going to walk that good? I did not.
I did not. Man, he's fucking great at walking.
Stick tap for the walk there.
Sexy. It got me a couple of times, and I was shocked at the end that I cared that much about Shoresy. Man, I laughed, I cried, it's good hockey, bae.
Yeah. They just have a way about that show that honestly is very much like Ted Lasso as far as really making me invested in a thing that at least everyone cares about what happens in Ted Lasso's fucking football. Like that tournament like fucking matters. They're in senior hockey. Like
senior whale shit hockey.
AAA.
It's the no-show.
Whale shit all the same though. And so like really no one fucking should care about any of this.
But they care 1,000,000%.
Yeah, they're gonna care they're gonna care more so that lack of people shows. What was it that they said like
for the community by the community.
For the community by the community. I mean, it's some Bush League hockey are like, what? You get like a fight a game. People expect that.
2 fights a game average.
Sorry, 2 fights?
That's Bush League.
No, that is Bush League.
We tore through this season. We watched this twice straight through. Like almost a day, like within a day.
The Shoresy and Letterkenny have that pattern where I feel like I can put them on almost immediately afterwards and just kind of run it again.
Right. Same. We finished watching 3. You went back and watched season 2, and then went back and watched season 1.
Yeah. Because I thought I was missing some context in season 2, and I was like, okay, so those women I'm supposed to know.
Those are the girlfriends. I don't even want to say like.
Whatever that they're taken down.
Those women are taking down sluts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't date sluts. Yeah, you don't date hockey players.
And
you just
for
take
folks
them
at
down.
home, the Shoresy, all the hockey players are. That's the slang for hockey player.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's honestly that's
insulting.
That's the females in power term for their hockey players,
now,
which is weird.
That is the confusing moment, or the main confusing thing for me on Shoresy is one of those like I feel like Riley and Josie here. Like I can't tell if this is empowering or not.
I mean, you said it, buddy.
Yeah, because
not sure that's PC, but you said it, buddy.
Because the truly astonishing number of hot women in Sudbury is one thing, but they're all these same hot women. There's not a variance in like I don't know. I assume it's Jared Keeso's taste.
Yeah. Well, there's whoever the casting director is basically like hiring.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's getting a direction from above or whatever, but that's where that is coming from. And I mean, they're hiring a lot of Canadian actresses, so that's kind of cool. But
I'm amazed how many people have their real name in this show.
Like, I swear to God, there might be one woman with a different body type.
Yeah. Or her hair is slightly lighter.
If you put them all in like a latex or like a black sock outfit.
Oh, they could back Robert Palmer in a heartbeat.
Like you'd never you'd never be able to tell any of them apart.
Yeah.
Like
no, if you pulled all their hair back and put the red lipstick on, like, yeah, they could sing about Addicted to Love.
Also, they have a moment where rather than JJ coming off as kind of just gross, it comes off a little bit like fat shaming.
Yeah. Which because they fat shamed the shit out of Shorzy when he was a kid, like Waffles.
Yeah.
And then they also
there's a moment in every season
where they go at JJ Frankie JJ. Yeah. But it season 2, it felt more like he's a slob.
Right. Yeah, and
this is undeniably just
Well, also, did you notice that in this season, Zieg, who is canonically supposed to be gay, but she's been talking about how like everyone's so like, hey, aren't you supposed to be gay or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the joke throughout the whole season, and yet we've never seen her with a woman ever. And now in this season, she has the hots for whatever his name is, and they don't even resolve that. Yeah. Does she hook up with him or not? She meets him at that place, so I assume that. Yeah, the very nice.
Yeah, gorgeous.
From the nice team, or all I fucking hear is about how nice they are. I feel like if people want me to fucking to actually sleep in them.
They makes the seafood dinner for them.
Yeah. For Serge, you said crab. Well, then you weren't listening. I was looking for that crab.
Try to get some of that crab together, though.
So I'm like, is there I'm thinking Kesso is just again like our problem with the last season of Letterkenny. Like, there's a conservative viewpoint, I think, from Kesso that every once in a while pops up, you know. Not like The Boys, which is been on the nose for ever, even though everyone's complaining about this season as the woke season.
Oh my god, it got woke. Yeah.
Okay.
Did it? Yeah. Well, I mean,
I watched an interview with
everybody should go watch Shorzy season 3. It's great.
Yeah.
But that's a good time to segue over to Boys season 4, which continues on.
I watched a after show of season 2 or whatever before season 2, like the first episode of season 2.
Tyler.
Yeah, and the creator there, the showrunner, I forget his name.
Eric Kripke.
Yeah, was talking about like, oh yeah, Homelander is I feel like it's important in the show that the more vulnerable people let themselves be in the show, the stronger they actually are, and the stronger someone tries to appear to be in the show. Trump. You just go.
That's great. Sorry, kids.
Anyway, the stronger someone tries to make themselves appear, the weaker they actually are. That was man. And I was like, so this hasn't been a secret ever. Like,
yeah. No, this is a couple of seasons ago that that behind the scenes thing was happening. Yeah. So season 4 continues on with Butcher being fucking diabolical this episode.
Fucking diabolical.
This, oh my god.
Woo!
The episode this week, first they get Giancarlo out of prison.
Yes.
And we take him along with the gang to go try to find where Newman's got the virus. So they're kind of they find one lab, then they find a bigger lab.
They find the lab that they're working on underneath the thing, and that the V has gone into the groundwater.
Right, because it got down their floor drain.
I remember when we saw that, and we were like,
that
oh,
can't
that's
be
bad,
good.
right? That's real bad.
So then, like 10, 15 minutes later, they're elsewhere on that same farm property, but just in the barn or whatever. And first we get V'd up chickens.
Feed up chicken.
Which is amazing. Just fucking hilarious.
Frenchie's like, I can't believe this is happening to me again.
Yes.
What?
Yes. I love when the guy's like, we made a hamster and then it got loose and it tore up the lab. And like Frenchie stops him and like, well, there was your first mistake. You shouldn't have beat up a hamster. Like Frenchie, I feel like there's a story here.
Well, you remember in season 2 when they found Soldier Boy, there was a beat up hamster.
Yes. That's what I was like. I'm pretty sure Frenchie has direct experience with a beat up hamster, right? Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about.
Like, oh, there was your first mistake. Yeah, I can't believe this happened again. Then they get outside and there's a moment where a bull cracks through the thing, and you and I on the couch and Mother in the show, and like everybody like, is that a beat up bull?
Yeah. And a great subversion of expectation.
It is not. Well, I mean, probably is a beat up bull. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
A swarm of flying sheep.
With somehow fangs
with
or something.
Like crazy mummy fangs, like
are
like and pull this thing up into the air and then rip it apart in a fucking burst and fly off with a leg.
Oh, and everyone's just oh.
I felt man. If my neighbors were out in their yard, they would have come and seen what was wrong. I yelled.
It was genuinely shocking.
Genuinely shocking.
Just did not expect that to happen.
It is. I didn't spoil shit for y'all. Go watch it. It is the single craziest thing I've seen on television this year, bar none. Amazing.
Well, I love that you can take the trick of like something we're making it play like nothing's gonna happen, and then something bad happens. But the trick here was we make it seem like something really bad's about to happen, and then suddenly something so much worse happens. Like, which is a hard sell because like the thing has to be so much more worse and unexpected.
Realize I said I didn't spoil shit for you. Technically, obviously, yes, I did.
I mean, you did, but like you won't spoil the moment, the feeling. It is
still so impactful.
Also on the 7 side of it, they're doing their VCon or whatever. Like there's 7 days, phases 7 through 19.
Yes, V52. And then their phases 7 through 19.
Yeah.
Reveal. And the new division, Vought Faith. With Firecracker, Lord Soldier.
While still being like trying to do their diversity thing, like trying to play both sides here because they do.
Man.
What was the name?
Black Adit.
Black Adit. Oh boy.
And oh man, yeah. Of course, they got Training A-Train with Will Ferrell as A-Train's coach. And then A-Train roping in Angela. Is it
yes
or Amanda?
No, it was Ashley.
Ashley, that's her name. Roping in Ashley. And then her. That was wonderfully done.
I know. It was one thing when you were actually in charge around here. I need a dom that actually doms, like some cool fucking shit.
Oh man, yeah.
And also, like, hey, she might not be in charge here, but it doesn't mean she doesn't have any power. Like,
right.
Like, fucking
shit's dangerous here, man. Don't make enemies. I mean,
well, it was one of the things like we realized watching it. Like, Giancarlo Esposito has a line in the show of like, it's genuinely shocking how all of you have survived this long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty shocking. But then I watched this, like
they're not backstabbing you.
And I'm like, no, they have an advantage. Like they have a got each other's back. Even Butcher, as much as he's been kind of shitty, he will, when push comes to shove, get the boys back.
It's like the Lower Decks episode of like, okay, cool. You've got an alliance of Romulans and Klingons and Ferengi. How's that working?
Not great.
And like, yeah, man, this is why why you don't get a lot of Secret Six.
The
Sinister Six
Sage and Firecracker are technically on the same team, but are like,
I fucking hate each other. You set me up and you fell for it.
And you fell for it, you dumb bitch. Now you don't have to play the victim. You actually are one.
You just think I'm poor white trash. I don't think
you're poor.
That is the second best line this episode. The best line this episode is Butcher telling Starlight that he would call her a cunt, but she doesn't have the depth or the warmth.
You don't have the depth or warmth.
Fucking hell, that is a
pretty
gross and brutal line.
Casual and very,
It's in like the first 2 minutes of the show.
Well, I mean, we didn't even mention Huey's dad. Because Starlight is kind of...
I cannot believe all this is one episode.
Starlight is losing kind of her shit. And it made me think of like, it's hard to control... I think it's hard to control violent impulses while you're up on V. Like, I just think V kind of messes with you on a, not even just power corrupts, but like V kind of fucks with you in a way that makes you more violent than I think you would otherwise be.
Right. Does releasing powers change your impulse control in general or something?
I think it's because his dad gets like some sort of,
well, his mom beat him up last episode.
Yeah.
Huey's mom. And man, they actually explain that pretty well.
Yeah, I was really mad at her the time she did it.
Yes. And instead she's like, I thought you were wanting me to do it. Like, you dropped it out of your coat.
And it was, and also the line I think that sold it to me was, you already lived your life without one parent.
Right.
I didn't want you to lose another one.
Right.
And like really, like she's really accepted her role of like leaving them. And I thought,
and I get, she hasn't seen what happens. Huey has. So I get the normal person's thinking of like, well, I would try anything. What's the worst that can happen? He still dies? Like, no, mom, you don't understand. It's Compound V. The worst that happens is not he still dies. Mm-hmm. The worst that happens is something like what fucking happens. He gets a phasing power that he can't control and scrambled memories and kills a shitload of people for a normal dude.
Yeah.
Maybe not a high body count for Homelander, but like for a Huey's dad, it's a crazy number of people that get hurt.
Yeah. And they have to like really have the conversation and do the thing they needed to do beforehand. And,
only now Huey gets to straight up do it.
Yeah, which is a great character moment. And also, like, I like that they've got to say goodbye at this time, at least. Like, it wasn't for nothing. Like, honestly, it would have been better to just not have done it and not have beat him up. But they did get something out of it.
Right.
They got to Huey got to tell his dad that he was his hero.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a complete loss on it, I think, which I thought was a good decision. And then Butcher and fucking Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, are planning on cooking up some more of that virus.
Yep. Fantastic episode. I cannot wait to see where the rest of this season goes.
Also, we got the Guardians of Godolkin are now officially on here. They're just really casually like
just blended in Gen V right there. Also, the Guardians of Godolkin movie just steals the font from Guardians of the Galaxy in a way. Just chef's kiss. Perfect.
Guardians of Godolkin's freshman year. Oh, see, well, I'm a stuck-up prissy girl, and he's kind of a nerd. But when a gypsy switches our bodies,
Guardians of Godolkin flipped. Yes, that's as far as they get on the description of that. But when a gypsy switches our bodies, oh god, oh lord, The other superhero show we watch, which is the polar opposite, also was this week. My Adventures with Superman.
Oh my god, My Adventures with Superman is so fucking good.
So when last episode ends with Kara, who we just met. Floating him off in a red casket. To go to her spaceship to go meet Brainiac, which we find out why he's got two Primus Brainiac. He's Brainiac 1.
He's Primus Brainiac 1.
So like if Brainiac 5 is eventually the kid that nobody trusts because all 4 Brainiacs prior to him have been world-ending monsters.
Yeah.
This is first Brainiac. This episode was fucking awesome.
So yeah,
all these episodes are fucking awesome.
Well, a lot of answers in the fact of like, nope, there is no Zod or other thing. It's Kara that's been the world ender for these civilizations.
She thought that she was the last Kryptonian and was raised to be the weapon that. Well, she didn't know weapon, but she thought she was the emissary bringing worlds into the Kryptonian Empire and rebuilding it. And she realizes over this episode what we've kind of been putting together, that her mind is being occasionally controlled and she probably doesn't have a good linear set of memories.
No, yeah. She they take that trip to Thanagar.
Yes.
And she's all excited to show him like this is what happens when the Kryptonian we share our technology, and it's just a fucking wasteland.
Yeah. And like she's telling him about all the cool stuff she saw the last time she was there, because the last time she visited, she saw their culture for a moment before she lasered it.
Yeah, it's like, you love them; they can fly too. We used to get to see a Thanagarian later in the hologram thing.
Yes, we also get to see a lantern.
Dude, we get to see a lantern with some sort of alien race that I did not recognize. That is like a gem thing that kind of works with the ring energy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I think he fights a parademon.
Yes, I think it is a parademon. I'm pretty sure. It seemed like it.
I think.
And then also, man, the way they handle Clark talking to Kara and trying to listen to her still, and at every turn this show reminds you of like what's special about Superman is the Clark in him, and how he handles like, no, I don't think you're a monster. Just listen to me here. And just not really arguing. I mean, yeah, he's arguing with Kara, but he's like, okay, take me to one of the worlds that you brought into the new Kryptonian Empire and sell me on it.
Yeah, it's just do the work, sell me on it. Because like Clark immediately kind of knows like this sounds like bullshit.
Bad. Yeah.
And I like Kara being super weird.
Yes.
Like she is a child that has not had a lot of human interact. Like she's interacted with a robot,
right?
But like she's like, oh, I get it. You're bad Earth brain. That's what's doing it. Like,
but like none of her like human emotionalities have ever been met, really.
Yeah.
And so like her hidden, I love Clark asking, well, then why are you hiding all that stuff? Her hidden little compartment full of relics from each, like a Thanagarian relic and a couple of other planets.
Pictures of her and Jimmy.
But a lot of, how do you know Jimmy?
My Jimmy.
My Jimmy. Like Jimmy Flamebird, leader of Earth. Wait, what? I love Clark's like, what? Yes.
Wait, do you like Jimmy? I don't even know what that means.
Like, do you like him? She blushes. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah.
And then they play like snowball fight in a helium cluster.
Or man, all of it really sells. Like all of it really works.
Yeah, and then like at the end of it pops up with Jimmy, Lois, and Mala and the Brain have like built a spaceship and like popped in.
She's gone back on her own little personal tour. Everything seems doomed with Clark and Brainiac, and she's really finally seen it. Like, oh fuck, I'm the death weapon of Krypton.
Yeah.
And at that, like, it's a great closing moment. Their ship pops through a interdimensional portal, and she just puts her hand out and stops it.
Yeah, it's just a
great. But also, man, seeing Lois, Jimmy, Mala, and the Brain.
I like the idea of like after this season they're gonna bring Kara over to their side, right? But that leaves a lot of storytelling opportunity for later seasons of like, well, any surviving Thanagarians, I can think of two in particular,
right, are gonna have real problems.
Are gonna have real fucking problems with her,
right.
And like
even more so than when people would occasionally meet Jean in X-Men and be like,
"Oh, the Phoenix,
you were the Phoenix.
You killed
a fucking solar system."
Yeah. But and yeah, like you're gonna have to like get over that, or like because Kara's officially like, yeah, she was not in hibernation in this continuity. She was not frozen or whatever.
No,
like,
she's been out there doing
she's
things.
Been out there wiping out civilizations in the name of Krypton.
Yep.
For this entire time. So I am interested in seeing, because Brainiac sees that Superman has a couple more powers than she does.
Yes.
And so fucking Primus is like, oh shit, I think I'm going to trade up. You're going to be my scion from now on.
I'm deeply afraid they're going to have to fight an evil Clark, a brainwashed Clark when they get back.
Yeah. I think that's going to be, and Lois, she's already seen from the hologram in the previous season how bad and evil Superman is.
A bad Superman could be. Yeah. Yeah. It's this show is wonderful.
No, I think they used it in the last season.
I don't know.
They're gonna have to use some kryptonite though, and that's what's gonna infect Brainiac.
Well, if they still have any at all, they would have brought it because
Primus is still red.
But they would be there to stop Kara, so Jimmy would have brought it if he still got it, or Lois would have brought it if she still got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bet they would have brought it if they still have it.
Yeah.
Or Mala and the Brain might have some.
Sure.
Who knows? I know, man. I love this show. It is a great Sunday morning cartoon.
Oh, you know who definitely has some? Task Force X.
Yep.
Because we haven't seen them in a minute.
Here. Yeah, Lois's dad might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love this fucking show. Sunday mornings, absolutely wonderful. Over on Max, which is still Max for now, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do. Well, now feels like a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over on patreon.com/tvdudes, you can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content every single week.
Every single week.
Every single week.
Every single week. And for that content, you are not charged only $1 a week.
Yep, just for the bonus app.
Yeah, like that's you buy more, you spend more on coffee.
For less than a cup of coffee a day.
You can support a TV
You
dude.
can save a podcast.
You can save. But also if you want to remember you, if you want to remember us even more so, you can donate $5. And what do they get for that, Les?
For that, you can send us a review of your favorite show or your least favorite show, or just review you wrote about a show you thought was meh, and we'll read it here on the podcast.
We'll read that motherfucker.
We will. We'll read the shit out of it. Then for $20, you can throw down $20 and choose the show and choose the episodes.
That's an insane amount of power we are giving you. And John Paul Vitale is the one that has exerting that power this week.
That's right. John Paul has chosen The Baxters as our show this week.
Yes. Also, don't forget to check out our bonus episode this week on Patreon, Quiet Place. We're doing a quiet marathon, quiet TV Dude Place.
Yes. The quiet marathon.
The quieting.
Yes. Quiet 2, Electric Quiet Lou.
We're talking about the Quiet Place movies.
Indeed. Day 1 over in theaters, and then Quiet Place 1 and 2, which I had never seen or heard.
But anyway, let's go to John Paul's show he chose for the week, The Baxters.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about Carrie and Tim. They don't look at each other the same way anymore.
Something's bothering you. I have been struggling.
Carrie.
I have built my whole world around you.
Tim is in love with another woman.
I keep going over it in my mind, and I have no idea how we got to this point.
I don't know why you want to stay with him.
I'm fighting for my marriage.
I get you made a commitment to Tim.
You don't know anything about commitment. You can't commit to anything.
Have you talked to Ryan?
Carrie, if you ever need someone to talk to, you know I'm only a phone call away, right?
Why did you come back?
To save our marriage, if that's still what you want.
So The Baxters is an American faith-based family drama television series based on the Redemption book series by Karen Kingsbury, developed by Roma Downey, and streamed on Amazon Prime Video, March 28, 2024. The series follows John and Elizabeth Baxter and their 5 adult children, Carrie, Ashley, Luke, Aaron, and Brooke. The cast includes Roma Downey, Ted McGinley, and Ali Cabron. Kathy Lee Gifford also guest stars, and all 3 of the seasons dropped at once. John Paul selected the first episode of season 1, the last episode of season 1, first up of season 2, and then the season 3 finale, which is kind of like that cheat method of clipping your way through a 15-season show.
So another podcast does the
first
last,
and so that's kind of
interesting technique.
Kind of what took us through it. So, Nick, we threw this on last Sunday night, maybe.
Yeah, I forget exactly when we put it. Yeah, it was Sunday night. Sunday night.
Most of the episodes are 20 minutes. That first episode is like a double pilot. It's like 41 minutes or something like that. So we threw on that first episode, and I was expecting a 20-minute, like a sitcom length Seventh Heaven.
Yeah,
which it's not that. But by the end of that first episode, I don't know if hooked is the word.
Well, we were the opening scene of it's a opening
like
Mother's
the power
Day.
of Christ compelled us.
There's an opening Mother's Day scene that is written weirdly of like, oh, where's your husband? Oh, he's at the hospital, or he's giving a lecture, him being a college professor, like a stage play reading of how when people describe
and who
what
is
they
that
do,
in that photo? Oh, that is Aunt Karen.
That's Aunt Karen.
Yes. And what is her job? Well, 6-year-old daughter.
And then, so there's like a 5-minute opening scene of that, of where they're like just doing this gift exchange thing. And not a lot is happening. And then all of a sudden the credits, the opening
song. And
wow.
And the holding hands.
It has been a minute since I've seen one of those.
Right.
Like, what would you call that? That's the...
Man, they really luxuriate in the...
that's even more than a Seventh Heaven opening.
No, it's something Alan Thicke could have wrote. It has been a minute since I have seen a full show song.
It's like, instead of I don't want to wait for our lives to be over, I can't wait for my life to be over.
We did skip intro almost every time. But then I think honestly that song gets into one of the main things that makes this show feel different. And I don't mean no other shows have faith. No other shows are paced like this.
Yeah.
And in little ways, there's an extra reaction shot.
The things you notice
in every conversation.
The things you notice when you're really watching a show you don't like. Like when you start to really, because you're deeply not interested what anyone's saying or the story going on.
Well, the story going on is just literally like my husband cheated on me.
There's not a lot of story.
Wants a divorce, absolutely wants to leave, and I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to forgive him,
but I remember
whether he wants it or not.
The reason the pacing is so weird is because they're throwing in extra reaction shots to everyone. Every line someone says, someone has a reaction shot to it. Not something they say. It shows them nodding or gasping or doing a thing, just a reaction to everything everyone says. So everything is extended by another 1.5 seconds of a reaction shot. It feels glacially slow.
It does.
We can't do it on the podcast list. It's not going to translate. There's no, you're for the listeners, he's just doing it to my face right now, and it's making me laugh. But it's not going to translate to you because it's not happening. You really gotta. It's a visual format for that joke.
Let us pray.
Let us pray.
So somewhere around the third prayer in the first episode, I think my brain fucking broke, and I laughed so hard.
Man, we laughed a couple times.
I like Jesus wept. For there were no more worlds to conquer. I laughed like, and at that point, like this show just had me tickled. We watched. So we immediately jumped at like, well, now I've got to see how this wraps.
I think my exact line to you is like, Les, I don't know why, I don't know how this is true, but like, I feel like I want to eat a bullet right now, but also I want to have to watch the season finale.
I looked over, it's like, I'm glad you said it because like, I kind of want to hit play on it right now too. And so we immediately watched immediately watched the end of season 1, and we jumped, it's like 10 episodes a season. So we jumped like 9 or 8 episodes in between here that we did not watch.
Yeah, so it's a little jarring.
It was a little jarring. We watched a bit of recap. It was not enough recap.
No.
But the previous episode, literally like a double episode that ends in her husband is still with the girl that he's cheating with. He's gonna go public with that. Like he's getting a divorce. He's done.
Yeah.
And the family's like telling the wife like, hey, so he cheated on you, you're done. Divorce. They are like, this is a church going family that's going to pray over it, and they are cool with the divorce.
They're cool. They're fine.
This is not a Catholic church problem.
But like, not her.
But not her. She's going to work it out.
She's willing to fight for her marriage.
So that's where we left off, and we pick up like immediately on the kid that narked him on the affair, walking into her house with a gun and taking and she's pregnant as shit.
Yeah.
So like that happened over the 8 episodes.
Yeah, 9 months.
And like clearly 9 months had passed.
Yeah.
And the kid walks in with a gun and kidnaps her. And then over the episode, they talk about the Bible with him and then send him back outside, and he shoots the fucking husband.
Oh, that's so
in the driveway.
Funny.
And we still don't know whether granted, we did not watch a lot of these episodes, but we still don't know whether they ever arrested that kid.
No, we don't know. I
do not follow up on it.
We watched the opening of the season 1.
So the next one, we literally immediately finished that, and we picked up season 2, episode 1, like which we watched again
immediately after, and they don't address that.
No. What she does is I think at his wake maybe.
Well, honestly,
like a month later, she has a moment with her ex in the driveway, and we're like, "You're standing on his bloodstain. Did one of you power wash that off?"
Like, yeah,
did Ted McGinley power wash that off the drive?
Well, he was just an obstacle to be with her true love, Ryan. So it doesn't really matter.
Also, and I cannot stress this enough, the only black character in the fucking show.
Dude, when he was talking about in the first episode, when he was talking about like, oh, so yeah, you're never with me. You're always with those family gatherings.
You're always at work, or you're at a family gathering.
Family only gathering. And I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong on how marriage works, but you're part of the family. Why aren't you invited? Oh.
And like, honestly,
and
the more trad family they get, the more I would think that like you could be there instead of her.
They don't say it, but they start to eliminating all possibilities of like, I wonder what thing about him is preventing
is not like the other.
Him from being invited to Sunday brunch.
It's
I sure do wonder.
But he's dead by season 1, so that's fine.
Well, honestly, and then of course we haven't watched the episode, but she's pregnant with his kid, and I'm like, oh, that definitely makes it more complicated for him. And of course, they would not. I haven't seen the episode where she finds out she's pregnant, but there's no way they even discuss an abortion.
Absolutely not.
There's no way.
Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. There's no way on this show. No.
Yeah.
No. So there are a million Baxter family books. When I looked this up, Karen Kingsbury has written like a quarter of. She is a prolific author of a faith-based Christian fiction.
Yep.
And the Baxters are her most popular characters by far. There's like a quarter of her output is Baxter books.
Got it.
So I think this is the first run of the books that kind of makes up season 1, and then it seems like season 2 focuses a little bit more on the sister. One of the sisters.
Well, the first. Fuck, I don't remember any other names.
Carrie, I think.
But yeah, Carrie is the first sister, I think. And her first season is her story about like her dealing with her impending divorce because nothing worse has ever happened to anybody.
No. No, she is red-eyed, like she's been awake for days.
Well, and then honestly, like they want me to really hate, because the family hates this dude, that like the black guy.
Yeah.
And every time they show more about the family, I'm like, no, man, what was this marriage like? We didn't see what this marriage was like before, you guys. Like, I feel like,
well, they lost a baby, right?
Yes, they lost a child together, and like that affects things. Like, that's,
well, as we'll discuss in Quiet Place, like that affects, like, most couples break one of like 3 ways.
That's hard. And also, like, yeah, if he's not invited to family shit and you're always with your family, how does he not always feel like an outsider?
Right.
Like, how is he never?
And then I can imagine after that loss, like, just like, man, am I part of this? Like, are we separate people now?
Well, you'd think that maybe like, oh, if we have a baby, maybe then I'll be part of the family then, because we have starting our own family.
Right. And then you lose it. Well, and I again, we didn't watch a bunch of these episodes, but I'm imagining that she probably turned to her family for a lot of the comfort there.
Right.
Because they're crazy tight knit.
And I was so I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, is he basically just right?
Yeah.
Like, is Tim like?
I didn't. Maybe Tim's a real shithead. I don't know. We didn't watch a bunch of the in between episodes, but I feel like Tim was fairly.
Tim was coming over.
Tim's showing up with food in his hand.
Well, Tim's coming over. Obviously, he's willing to be a dad to this kid. I'm not sure. I'm not sure in what concept, in what context, if they're getting back together or whatever. But it's honestly, his death is a way for them to get together with her true white love, Ryan. Sorry, right love.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right love, Ryan. It's the white decision less. Right decision for her. Damn it. But divorce is wrong. But widowing is fine in Christian baseball, I guess. So his death is just the get out of jail free card of her relationship. So like, oh, thank God he died, because that's the only. Honestly, God killed him.
I mean, absolutely.
Like God, oh well, God brought Ryan to your life. Then God killed Tim to let Ryan be there. Like,
Tim's flirting with students in heaven now.
Like, honestly, God does seem to have the Baxters back. They'll take care of you, unless you're the sister, because we're talking about the season 2 and the.
Oh my God! So we watched the season 2 opener, which has the sister who has come back from Paris. I think that's Ashley. Macy McClain, is it Ashley? That's,
I don't know, man. They're all skinny brunette, like they all kind of blend together. And she
went to Paris
because she's an artist or whatever.
I'm gonna try to get through this. yeah. So she went to Paris to I don't know, find her heart.
You'd think,
like, people and they talk about, like, the craziest fucking thing anybody's ever had the mental breakdown.
She went to the Vegas to be a showgirl,
right?
Something.
Or that she had to take a year in a mental institution to get her nerves back, or something. Like,
they treat this Paris trip like you've never been the same after that Paris trip.
Yeah, like you just can't believe she did it. Like she she traveled. That's it.
Why would you ever leave America? You know, the place
very
God
much
loves.
feels like that. What the fuck?
It's the things the show doesn't say, but says sort of loudly anyway.
That she is so punished for it,
dude. The
cosmically.
Well, the finale we watched is her grappling with the impending AIDS diagnosis.
So we jump ahead to the series finale, because they've only put out they dropped all 3 seasons at once. And there is enough books for fucking 10 years worth of this show, like, easily. Like, you could just keep Baxtering it out forever. But
I don't think it did very well.
I don't know. They burned
3 seasons. Like, they never got a distribution deal. Like,
no, they just dropped it.
They just kept making seasons without a distribution deal. I don't know who does that.
Churches.
Like, yeah,
Faith. They had Faith, Nick.
If you say Faith to me one more fucking time, I swear to
you
God.
Say Faith one more goddamn time. Yeah, so I can't believe that they cliffhanger on this. Because it is a cliffhanger that is probably never going to be resolved unless you can read the books, I guess.
Yeah. At Ryan and Kate's wedding, because of course this
of course
show...
it is.
If she gets the news.
She's a bridesmaid. She's
the man. They cut to the shot. And I could only imagine the direction on the day of shooting which is telling that character like, okay, so you're a bridesmaid, but also you're thinking about AIDS. Thinking about AIDS. You're thinking about AIDS. Got it. Okay, good. Keep that mental energy. Okay, just remember, Ashley, you're thinking about AIDS,
right? So she gets her diagnosis back, and she finds out that she does have HIV.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes to her sister's wedding, where she plays.
She's at the wedding when she gets that.
She's at the wedding when she gets the diagnosis.
Honestly, fuck that bitch that told her.
Oh my god!
Like,
oh my
dude,
lord!
Let
yes.
that wait a day.
Let that wait a moment.
God damn
because
it.
in her bridesmaid's dress, then she sits down and pulls out her acoustic guitar and sings an original composition.
Oh my god, I forgot about
for the
that.
first dance for her sister's wedding.
Oh my god!
While thinking about AIDS. It's so fucking brutal. And it's a remarkable. I thought the song was going to suck a lot worse than it did. It's a remarkably pretty song, but it's the most awkward scene I've ever. Oh my god!
This song reminds me of my stem cell count because it's
my T cell count. Yeah, oh my god,
it's pretty low.
Oh my god. Oh. Yeah,
and then she drives off to not be with the other, I think, black character on the show. We don't see a lot of him, and he's very light skinned.
Yes.
But he is like, I can't be with you. I have HIV. Like you'd be with a doomed person.
Right. So this book series was written in 2003 or 5, maybe. When there were not. That was like. I know Dallas Buyers Club was coming out, I guess, around. Anyway, there were not drugs that would manage this. I am not trying to make light of having HIV. I'm sure it is terrifying and terrible.
No,
but it is medically more manageable now. I think we can all safely say.
Yeah, you actually have treatments and medication
versus like when we were growing up, when it was what the fuck is that?
And as far as I understand from any of my gay friends and acquaintances I've seen on Facebook when that first was coming out, of like, holy shit, this is like a game changer.
PrEP is a game changing drug. Like there's a prophylactic pill. There are also just better meds to manage it.
Like if you maintain your schedule or whatever, you can live a full long fucking life without complications.
You could,
which was just not a thing before.
And the idea of getting undetectable was not a thing.
So before. I get when the book was written how big a deal this would be, but even
we're
in the
watching
show,
it now, just screaming at the TV.
Like what?
Like go talk to go talk to someone not at this wedding.
Well, even the doctor she talks to or whatever says like, well, there's definitely you can definitely manage this more nowadays.
Right.
But again, it's like for the Christian community, it's still the gay disease, I think.
Yeah. The most charitable thing I can say is that they're trying to give her character a time to still, I mean, if I found that out manageable or not, I don't want to hear it for the first day. Let me go freak out a minute. But we're looking at the show going, you have to go talk, you have to go talk to a doctor about this.
Well, if she didn't go to Paris like a slut, then she just wouldn't have had contracted AIDS from that French guy.
French guy.
Because that's how she gets it.
Yes.
I don't think we were clear about that before.
No, she sleeps with a Frenchman.
Because everything in her life that's bad to her stems from this fucking Paris trip. Because she deigned to go somewhere out of, that wasn't America without her family.
Yes.
She deigned to do anything by herself as an individual.
So at this point, I'm torn. Like, a part of me recognizes that I might be misunderstanding some of the motivations of characters on this show because I skipped 8 episodes a season. But also, I don't really want to go back and watch those 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that if I start watching any one of them,
I'll watch that.
I'll watch the whole fucking show.
Watch that motherfucker to the end. Like honestly, like John Paul. Like
when I woke up the next day and I
had one.
Because we'd already had a discussion of what show do we watch after this? It's gonna be like stepping off an escalator or something. Like you're just
whoa.
Like no other show's gonna fucking feel right.
I forgot how to watch TV for a minute.
Right. As you were saying.
But yeah, I was watching one, and yeah, John Paul, simultaneously, man, fuck you for making this, but also, I totally get it, man. Like this brought into me of I can't watch bad TV like we watch bad movies,
right?
But this did instill to me oh, this is the feeling I get when we watch bad movies and we are deeply fascinated,
right?
It just and not truly enjoying ourselves, but yet kind of because we enjoy the dissection, the post-mortem, if you will.
What are they doing here?
Like we're detectives.
It's remarkable.
We're trying to solve a crime and like figure out like where things are going wrong, or honestly where things have gone right.
like when you buy a frame and there's a picture of a family already in it. This is their show. This is a show about that family.
You didn't know that, but every picture frame you ever bought has the Baxters in it.
Yes, it's always been it's all been Baxters.
Oh my god,
it's always been Bookersham. Well, that's probably enough for now. Tune in next week when we talk about season 3 of Hulu's breakout cooking competition / reality show, The Bear, where real improv trained actors fight against the beast that the best Mother Nature has to offer. And we see who eats and who is eaten.
Okay, so I haven't watched a lot of The Bear, but that can't possibly be what it's about.
Yep, it is.
Okay.
It's now wait. Is it brown bears that you say yes and to, or is it black bears? One hates improv,
I know that.
and the other you're supposed to lay down.
I think you have to make your jokes bigger.
Yes.
Stop it.
Well, don't forget to head over to patreon.com.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Patreon.com/TV Dudes to hear about our Quiet Place marathon.
And until next time, let us pray.